Hello everybody, this is Rudra Pradhan here. Welcome you all to BMD lecture series. Today we will continue with the predictive analytics, that too coverage is dummy modeling. So, this is a typical case where either dependent variable or independent variable will be categorical. So, that means we have already solved some of the problems, that too for bivariate structure and multivariate structure, where most of the times variables behavior is represented by quantitative way. So, that means we have actually numerical values, that too for both dependent variable and independent variables while doing some kind of prediction. But in the real life scenario, in the kind of day to day business environment, some of the variables are there where we do the prediction, and the variables nature is such that, so the information related to that variables are not actually numeric. So, it is kind of categoricals or simply called as qualitative. So, as a result we have a two different structure. So, either dependent variable will be categorical or independent variable will be categorical, or both will be categoricals. So, as a result we have a two different sets of problems. So, first problems, knowing predictive analytics when one or more explanatory variables are categorical, that is actually called as a dummy independent variable modeling, and again knowing predictive analytics when dependent variable is categorical, that is called as a dummy dependent variable modeling. So, first we start with the dummy independent variable modeling. So, that is a little bit easy to understand, and then we will go for dummy dependent variable modeling. So, in the case of dummy independent variable modeling, so first and requirement is to understand the dummy structure. So, that means it is a variables where the information is not actually in the form of numeric structure. So, it is in the form of some kind of binary or some kind of categoricals or something like that. So, we have a plenty of examples for that, and like gender is the classic examples, religious group is the another classic examples, educational levels can be also another classic examples. While studying the impact of independent variable or dependent variables, so these variables may have actually different kind of impact. So, now with the help of dummy modeling we can address all these issues. And by the way, it can dummy modeling can be applied to cross sectional modeling, and it can be applied to time series modeling. In the cross sectional kind of environment, we can find out like gender impact, then educational impact, religion impact, but in the kind of time series modeling, dummy variable can be used to check the structural break, to find out the after shock effect, before shock effect, then kind of war effect before the situation, after the situation. Sometime we like to predict the productions or growth when we change the kind of political power one point of time to another point of time. Sometimes we can study the seasonality, we can study the day of the week effect. So many ways actually we can use dummy modeling, and that too in the kind of predictive kind of environment. Let us start with the kind of structure, what is exactly the dummy concept and how we have to address this. So, we can start with a simple model here. So, y with respect to x, and here the model is actually y beta 1 and beta 2 x 2, and here the constant terms in this equation measures the mean value of y when x 2 equal to 0. So, that means this model assumes that the constant will be same for all the observation in our data set, but actually in a real life scenario. So, there is a high chance that they have the impact actually of two different subgroups. For instance, we have actually 100 data points, and some data points is with respect to male and some data points with respect to female. So, there is a high chance that the male female impact will be having different while connecting y and x. So, so dummy variable can be used to find out the typical difference between male impact and the female impact. So, let us see how is this particular structure, and then we will move to this discussions. So, in the kind of dummy modeling, so we usually use the concept called as D, and in the case of gender impact, so we put actually D equal to dummy variable, which is equal to 1 for one indication, and let us say male, and when it is not actually male, then it will be female, then that will be 0 indications. So, that means this is the case we can have here binary representation, but sometimes depending upon a particular variable, so it can have a different cluster altogether. For instance, religions, it may have actually different groupings, but still dummy variable can be used to find out the particular impact. So, now in order to better understand, you can actually let us move to the particular structure. So, this is what actually original our original model is this one. So, y equal to beta 1 beta 2 x 2 and the error term, and then again with the dummy impact, that means we try to establish whether gender is having link between y and x. So, as a result we allow the dummy modeling here, and in this case, so D is the kind of dummy structure, and here D is the kind of dummy structure. So, D can be equal to 1 and D can be equal to 0. So, now when D equal to 0, then the model will be restricted to this much only. So, in that case this particular impact will be vanish, and when D equal to 1, then the model will be moved to this ones. That means, beta 3 this is the extra component will be added into the process. So, that means, it will give you two different structure altogether. So, the mean impact while studying the impact of x on y. So, now, so in order to understand much better, so let us go to this particular plotting, and you will see here. So, the red plotting will give you the male signal, and the gray gives the kind of female clustering. So, that means, by default dummy will give you two different cluster altogether while studying the relationship between y and x. Now, so corresponding to the male groups, so we can have a kind of predicted lines, and against with female groups, so we can have actually predicted line. So, the difference between the two predicted lines will be with respect to beta 3, that is the dummy impact, right, which we have already highlighted from this particular equation. This is the beta 3 component. So, the beta 3 is the kind of this is the difference between this beta 3 component. So, so this is the beta 1 component, and then so the beta 3 is added, and this will be give you the another kind of indication. So, that is the beauty of the particular dummy structure, and dummy can be used for a single variables, and it can be used for multiple categories. So, in a particular models, so this kind of situation we have a 5 different dummies. So, that means, technically, so usually the model can be written like this: y equal to alpha plus summation beta I x I and plus summation delta j d j plus error terms, right. So, this is the general form of dummy modeling, and here x is a this is x is a independent variable clusters, and which may have actually values in a kind of quantitative structure, and d j is a kind of variable whose information will be in the form of some kind of categoricals, right. So, that means, technically qualitative in nature. So, this is the classic examples. In this case we have actually 5 dummies, and then we like to check how primary impact can affect the link, again secondary impact, how secondary impact will be affecting the link, like this so many process we have to go for the kind of investigation. So, let us link them to a particular model, and corresponding to the previous structure. So, the same structure here. So, we start with this this is actually original model, then this is the representation of single dummy, and this is the case of multiple dummy. So, we have here multiple dummies, and in fact, we have a 5 dummies, but in the models which we are presenting here. So, it is having actually a 4 dummies. So, that means technically when all dummies will be 0, then so it will take care the first dummy by default. So, that is nothing but actually beta 1 plus beta 2 x 2 when we will go for the kind of estimations, right. So, this is how the particular structure through which actually you can go for the understanding of dummy modeling, and then we can actually move to further discussion. So, the dummy can be with respect to gender, with respect to education, with respect to age, with respect to occupations, and then with respect to kind of religion. So many things can be incorporated to study the kind of impact. Then again we can look for the structural break, after shock, before shock. So many things we are you can go for quarterly effect. So there are many different ways you can actually handle this particular problem. This is a very interesting technique through which you can actually solve some of the problems, business problems, and then it will come with very fantastic results as per the management requirement. So, in order to go something in depth. So, in the time series context, we can study the quarterly impact, we can go for monthly effect, we can go for weekly effect, we can go for a daily effect. So, there are many different instances. It is very interesting actually. So, that means technically we may have a 2 variable, but if your some data points are very high. So, ultimately you can actually with the help of dummy we can extend this model from bivariate to multivariate. So, by adding one after another dummy depending upon the particular requirement and the kind of particular objective. So, now in order to better understand the particular structures, that means technically this is actually complete structure of multivariate structure of dummy modeling, and we like to check how it is actually happening in the real life scenario when we will be dealing with data and the kind of problem. So, in order to better understand, so I will take you to a spreadsheet where we have a 2 variable washing machines, sales of washing machines and durable goods expenditure, with the intention that the selling of washing machine depends upon the durable goods expenditure, and it is actually quarterly data, and we like to check whether there is actually the kind of what we can call as quarterly impact in between washing machine sales and the durable goods expenditure. So, that means actually the model is with respect to y, beta 1, beta 2 x 1s, then delta 1 d 1, delta 2 d 2, delta 2 d 3, delta 4 d 4s, but here because of dummy variable trap. So, we are using only 3 dummy. So, that means technically when d 2, d 3, d 4 will be 0, by default that will take care the impact of the first quarter, and again so when d 2 equal to 1 and others will be 0. So, this will take care the impact of for second quarter, and again so when d 3 equal to 1 and others are 0. So, this will take you to the impact of third quarter, and finally, when d 4 equal to 1, this will give you the impact of fourth quarters. So, as a result, so what will you do in this particular process? Same way you go to the data analysis package, and again this same standard technique which you like to apply here is a regression analysis, and you choose the regression, and this is as usual simple regression modeling, and that to multiple regression modeling. So, the first hand requirement is here to give the indication about the data points, that too with respect to dependent variables, and then again we need to indicate the structure of independent variables, and that too with dummy structures. So, now after highlighting these ones, then the software is ready to operate, and you see here the kind of the representation of d 2, d 3, d 4. It is actually initially by default it will not be there, you have to create it. So, the creation is like this, this is by default you see here second quarter data points, and this is actually third data point, third quarter data point, then this is fourth quarter data point. So, similarly you have to operate this is first, and this is again second, this is third, and this is fourth. So, by default actually it is actually artificially created, with the structure of this particular data in the game between washing machine sales and durable goods expenditure. So, after arranging put OK, and then you will find a regression output here, and this is what actually the intercept, and this is by default actually variable durable goods expenditure, that is x1, and this is D2, D3, D4. So, that means technically, so the model is now interesting. So, we like to know what is the so all are actually positively linked except the last variable, which is having negative impact, and probably that particular quarter this the particular link is not actually so positive because of some kind of seasonality issue, and in fact how you will find the particular quarterly impact. So, this is actually the dependent variable is here, the dependent variable is here washing machine sales, and then the kind of output is with respect to durable goods expenditure, that is this 2.773. So, that means, so the first quarter impact will be intercept plus this one. So, 456.24 and plus 2.77, and this is actually the first first quarter impact, and where D2, D3, D4 equal to 0. Now, for second quarter, so the impact will be 456.24 plus 2.773 x plus this particular impact 242.5. So, this 242.5 by default will be added into the intercept, because this is a constant number. When we put actually d equal to 1, then that means the particular item will be only left to add in the case of intercept. And again, so when the third quarter is concerned, so D2 will be 0 and D4 will be 0, and as a result, so that means technically let me give you the kind of structure here. So, here, so this is actually the intercept. So, intercept plus x variable impact. So, this is the first quarter impact. So, that means, so y equal to 456.24 456.24 plus 2.773 x. This is the first quarter impact. When you put x something like let us say expenditure is actually say 1000, then y equal to 456.24 plus 2.773 into 1000. So, this will give you the quarterly impact, right, and that to first quarter impact. And for the second quarter impact, so it will be 456.24 plus 2.773 x plus this 242.5 plus 242.5. So, that means by default this will be added into the intercept, and that is the extra impact will be happening in the second quarter, and by default this is the x variable impact, and again putting the x value here, then you can get the quantitative pictures like this case, right. Similarly, in the third quarters, so it will be a 456.24 plus 2.773 x plus this variable impact only. So, plus 325.26. Similarly, in the fourth quarter case, so it will be 456.24 plus 2.773 x plus it will be actually minus, because the coefficient is coming minus. So, that means it will be minus 86.1. Okay. So, so that will be actually less impact. So, that means if you go by kind of comparative structures, which particular quarter is more effective, then you can find here. So, 325.26. So, that means the third quarter is having high impact, followed by second quarter, then third quarter, first quarter, and finally it will be in the fourth quarter. So, this is how the impact can be studied to go for the prediction of washing machine sales subject to durable goods expenditure. Choose as per the business requirement. To go a little bit more, so I will highlight another problem here. So, here the problem is with respect to explaining housing price, because this is a kind of real estate problems where we like to attract the customers by giving flexible price, but using the dummy modeling you can actually predict the different price for different kind of features. So, here our dependent variable is the price of house, and then some of the independent variables, and out of which some are qualitative in nature and some are numeric in nature. And here we have a 5 different qualitative variables, and these are the features through which price house price will be actually increasing. So, that means technically, so this is the first dummy variables, it is the facility of driveway. So, that means technically, so with a base price, if you need driveway, then that dummy will be represented by 1, and then it will add that particular impact. If you don't need this feature, then by default this D1 impact will be reduced. So, as a result, housing price will be low. Again, like D2 D3. So, it is here is the case of basement. So, if you need the basement facility, then D3 impact will go to the base price. If not, then this the price will be again lower. Similarly, if you need central heating, then D4 impact will go to the housing price, and if you again need air conditioning facilities, then this will go to the impact of housing. That means technically we have actually plenty of options to go for the kind of housing price predictions. So, now in order to understand the particular in every case, actually it is the situation of yes no. So, that means this facility is there, the facility is not there. So, if it is there, then what should be the housing price? If not, then what should be the housing price? So, that means it will be having actually different kind of options. So, we try to find out what are these options altogether. So, so far as the modeling is concerned, we start with the one dummy, and in this case, so y equal to alpha plus beta d plus e. So, this is standard model, and here y is the housing price and d is the dummy modeling, and that d is a dummy variables which represents a particular future. So, then as usual you can estimate the process, which we have already done through the Excel spreadsheet. Then finally, you have a model equal to y equal to alpha head plus beta head d only. So, e will be removed in the process. As a result, so this is your estimated model. So, this is your estimated model, and by default so what will you do? So, you can actually predict the particular situations y head equal to alpha head, and where the facility is not required, and the price will be again y head equal to alpha head plus beta head, where the price is actually needed. So, that means by default, so there will be two different price for a particular dummy. So, again to adjust the particular process, yes, to adjust this particular process, let us say here. So, this is what actually two different price. So, now let us assume that alpha head by estimation is coming 59,885 and beta head is coming 25,996. So, that means you have now two different price. So, in one case, if you need this particular, this is actually with respect to air conditioning. So, what is the house pricing with air conditioning? So, then it will be having actually alpha plus beta pack, and if you do not need actually air conditioning. So, that means the beta head impact will be removed. So, only alpha head impact will be there, that is the base price. So, that means so having a air conditioning facility, so housing price will be base price, that is 59,885 plus the kind of air conditioning charge that is reflected by beta coefficient, that is 25,996. So, as a result, so this will have a two different price through which you can predict the particular situations. So, now again, so you can go with multiple dummies, and again for simplicity we are allowing two dummies altogether. So, that means how many housing price we can actually predict here when we have two different features altogether. So, that means technically here the model will be y equal to alpha, that will be represent the base price, and then beta 1 D1 and beta 2 D2. Okay. So, let us assume that this is the estimated model, and then by default error term will be removed. Then finally, if you do not need drive wave facilities and let us say the D2 facilities. So, here, so in the so we have a 4 different price options. In one case you have only alpha heads, that is the base price, and this is the case 1, and then alpha head plus beta 1 head. So, this is case 2, and then alpha head plus beta 2 head, this is for case 3, and then finally alpha head plus beta 1 head plus beta 2 head is the case 4. So, this will be a substantially high price, because it includes 2 different features, and this is actually having low price because it does not includes any features, and the rest of the 2 cases one feature is there, and then what should be the kind of housing price. So, likewise having 2 different price, these are the various options. So, D1 1 D1 1 and D1 0 D2 0, and then D1 yes, D2 no, again D2 yes, D1 no. So, these are the kind of 4 different options, and accordingly you will find different price spec. So, now the estimated results are here, and accordingly, so your first price spec will be this is the base price 47,099, and again having one particular features, let us say D1. So, then the house price will be this much, against having second feature only, then 47,099 plus 16,023. So, this will be the second price, means third price connecting to alpha and alpha beta 1, and now the fourth option will be, so alpha 1 plus beta 1 plus beta 2, like this. So, this is actually the high price spec, and this is the low price spec, because this is the base price. Now, this is another options, against this with this is another option, and finally, all these 3 will have a one options. So, that means having 2 different dummies. So, we have actually 4 different flexible price, and so far as a prediction is concerned. So, that means this is a very attractive kind of structure through which you can do the predictions, and you come with different options for the kind of management requirement or the kind of business requirement. Again, I am showing another kind of situation where one dummy and one numeric variables, right. So, D is actually having a air conditioning facility, and that is actually yes no type of situation, and then another kind of situation. So, this is air conditioning facilities with a dummy yes no, and then X is a lot size. So, if you go for lot booking, then obviously, so the price spec will be different. So, now accordingly in the estimation process, assume that alpha head is coming this much, beta head is coming this much, and beta 2 is coming this much. So, that means technically now with with the 2 variables and 1 dummy, in that to 1 dummy. So, your price spec will be y equal to alpha head plus beta 1 head and beta 2 x. Okay. So, this is one spec. Another spec will be y alpha head plus beta 2 head x. So, beta 1 will be removed, because when we have no such facility, then that price spec will be lower compared to the previous one. So, this way you can actually find out 2 different price options as per the particular requirement. And again, so let us assume that this is the estimated model, and corresponding D0. So, the model will be restricted to only intercept and the kind of x impact, and if having that facility, then the D1 impact will be also added into the particular process. And this is again with the 2 dummies with the 2 numeric variables. So, earlier case we have taken x1 is the lot size, and here number of bedrooms, and again, so 2 different dummy structure, and D1 and D2. So, that means again, so with the 2 dummies we have actually 4 different price spec. Now, depending upon x1 and x2 value, so you will find different option altogether. So, that means actually through dummy you will get plenty of option to go for the kind of predictions and the kind of alternatives. Okay. So, this is the case where this is the maximum case where both the features are there, and this is the second case where one feature will be there, and similarly you can have actually d 2 equal to 1, d 1 equal to 0, and again you can have d 1 0 and d 2 0 simultaneously. In that case only intercept and x 1 and x 2 impact will be there. The remaining d 1 impact and d 2 impact will be removed in the kind of estimation process. So, that means technically whatever we have discussed here, that we are targeting the predictive analytic structures where we are predicting a kind of dependent variable, like in this context housing price with respect to independent variables. While doing all these things, if there is a chance of dummy structures, then it will give you lots of flexibility to get plenty of option or flexibility to attract the customer and make the management decision more attractive. So, so it is a very interesting technique. So, so the kind of requirement is to understand, and as per the kind of need, we have to incorporate the dummy in the kind of predictive structure. So, having the knowledge of dummy, you can actually, or having the kind of dummy modeling. So, you will find plenty of options as per the kind of customer requirement and the kind of management requirement. So, with this we will stop here. Thank you very much. Have a nice time.